about absolute value. Fact 1. Absolute value is distance from 0 to the number that you're talking about. Absolute value is never negative. Never. It's never negative. And absolute value uses these symbols, like, I guess I made those too long. Like, I like to call them feet walking, because it helps me to remember that there's no like little feet. It helps me to remember that you're walking, there's no negative for absolute value. Okay, so again, it's the distance from 0 to the number. It's never negative, and it uses these symbols. So let's use examples. What's the absolute value? This is how this was read. What's the absolute value of 5? Well, I'm going to put 0 in on the number line. The absolute value of 5 is the distance from 0 to 5. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where 5 is. And the distance from 0 to 5 is 5. What's the absolute value of negative 5? What's the absolute value? What's the absolute value of negative 5? Well, let's see. It's the distance from 0 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where negative 5 is. So the absolute value of negative 5 is also 5. So the distance from negative 5 to 0 is 5 places. What about 5? What about the negative 5? Where's negative 5 on the number line? It's right here. And what is it equal to? It's equal to negative 5. And I want you to see the difference between these two. See the difference between these two? In this case, when negative 5 appears in the absolute value symbol, it ends up being positive. Here, negative 5 is equal to negative 5. Here, when it's 5 in the absolute values signs, it's still positive 5 because it's distance. Let's practice more and see what it means. First, we're going to watch this video to meaning of absolute value. And I forgot to do one thing. When I'm sharing the screen, I have to mark the computer audio so we can hear the sound. All right. So first, we're going to look at this video. It's very short. Here we go.
Absolute value. The absolute value of a number is its distance from another number on a number line. Distance is a measurement that tells you how far you've gone from one point to another. The notation for absolute value is two straight lines, like this. The absolute value of 4 is 4, because 4 is 4 places from 0 on the number line. Negative 4 is also 4 places from 0 on the number line, so its absolute value is also 4. Absolute value is always a positive number, because it's the distance from the other number, in this case 0, no matter the direction. Here's Lucy. She lesson 3 blocks from the bus stop. After walking 2 blocks, she realizes she dropped her sheet music. She goes back 1 block, finds it, then continues to her lesson. One way to represent Lucy's journey is like this, by walking 2 blocks forward, 1 block back, and 2 blocks forward. Lucy ends up 3 blocks from the stop, Yet she walked more than that. Absolute value shows us how much she actually walked. 2 blocks forward, plus 1 block back, plus 2 blocks forward, for a total of 5 blocks. Phew! Absolute value can help us calculate distance and solve math problems.
Wonderful. So that is absolute value. Now we want to play this game. This is red, what is the absolute value of 55? Which one of these should we take? Negative 55? No, the absolute value of 55 is 55. What is the absolute value of negative 7? Negative 7? No, remember, it's a distance from 0 to the number, and distance is never, ever negative. So it's positive 7. What's the absolute value of 3 minus 9? Well, in order to do this, you have to work in the absolute value sign first. And you know what? I don't want to teach you this one right now. I didn't want us to do these right now. So how can we skip this one? It's going to be wrong because we're skipping it. I don't want to confuse you. And if the next one is also, oh boy. Oh, let's see. Okay, so get out of this because this is advanced and we don't want to get there yet. Okay, so just remember, we got lots of games to play, that the absolute value is distance from 0 and it's never negative. Is this true? Absolute value is a distance from 0. Yes. Let's see how much you've learned. Next one. The sign for absolute value is A, B, C, or D. D? No, it's C, those 2 lines. I think of them as 2 feet walking distance, and distance is never negative. What's the absolute value of negative 9? Yes, it's positive 9. This is a distance from negative 9 to 0. Next one, answer these questions about absolute value. What's the absolute value of 27? No, do not be tempted to put negative because this is positive. Absolute value is always positive. What's the absolute value of 0? Yes, it's going to be 0 because you haven't moved anywhere. What's the absolute value of negative 91? Yes, that's positive 91 because everything in those lines are positive. So that's the end. Now make sure